Alright guys, so it is your boy Keds here, back with another Rocket League tutorial which will hopefully allow you to climb the ranks in Rocket League a bit easier. This tutorial will be about dribbling. I literally just tried to record this tutorial and I didn't realise the entire time that my mic was on mute, so we go again and hopefully you guys can learn something from this video. Now, there are some fundamentals about dribbling first and foremost that you need to learn. And a quick disclaimer, watching this tutorial is not going to make you better overnight. You need to put in the time to practice dribbling. So, what you can do, I'm going to split the tutorial up into two parts as well. The second part is going to be released at a later date. So the first part is about how to dribble, like how you can keep the ball on your car like that. How you can do a bounce dribble, which is kind of like this. Or also how you can push dribble like this. And also what you can do with them, like say what your options are. Like with a push dribble, you can like do a power slide cut or a hook shot. With a bounce dribble, you kind of just bounce it and you can get a power shot. Or with a ball carry, you can obviously flick the ball. Now, in the second video, I'm going to go into more depth about how to make sure you get good power on your power shots, what makes a good power slide cut, how to flick the ball effectively, but that's in a later video, so we're going to skip over that for now and go right back down to the basics. So what are the basics of dribbling? Well, you need to know, obviously, left on your stick goes to the left, right goes to the right, and then you've got two ways of braking. You can either release your throttle button, which slows you down there, or you can hold your brakes, which slows you down a lot sharper. So if you were dribbling the ball and you brake, notice how the ball falls off your car a lot faster than if you are dribbling the ball and you just release RT. Notice how it's a lot faster. So that's two things to be aware of. If you brake, then the ball tends to pop up a little bit, which isn't really ideal. So most of the time, if you want to slow down, you want to just use your right trigger. Now, before we get into that, we're going to get into a push dribble. So a push dribble is just where you push the ball, and it gives you a couple of options. Now, with a push dribble, you literally just need to learn how to just push the ball in one direction and then push it in another direction or shoot it at the net. So I don't really need to go too much into depth about it, you just get a feel for it. And from the push dribble you have two options. You can either ball carry or you can bounce dribble. That's if you choose power slide cut. Obviously if you shoot you're not going to be able to dribble, but you know, you should probably know that already. But with a push dribble, for example, you can then cut into the ball and you can either catch it or you can cut into the ball and start a bounce dribble. Either or, they're both very good options for different reasons. Now the first one I'm going to get into is a bounce dribble. So to start a bounce dribble, you just need to learn how to just keep the ball on the half volley and just pop it up. Obviously the lower the better, so you really want to like focus on keeping the ball quite low, like so, and that way it gives you some options to shoot the ball like that. But notice how because the ball's in the air, you have less opportunities to shoot. That's the one downside of it, is you have less opportunity, because to get good power you've got to wait for the ball to come down. But apart from that, it is a very good technique, especially if you know how to keep the ball low, which minimizes the time that you can't go for the ball. And also, if you don't bounce dribble straight at their net, you can kind of incorporate a hook shot as well. But again, it's kind of, I'll go over that in a later video. But to practice it, you just need to pop the ball up, hit it again, and try after every bounce, just pop the ball up like this, and just pop it up. And another thing to note, it doesn't have to touch the ground. You can just do this, like just hit the ball like that. Let's say if you want to change direction, you can just do that. That's another way of doing a bounce dribble. As long as there is a form of bounce, then it is a bounce dribble. But yeah, that's a bounce dribble kind of in a nutshell, and what your options are with those. And then the other category of dribbling that there is a ball carry. So what you do with the ball carry is you need to learn how to first and foremost keep the ball on your car. Now, a lot of people recommend with keeping the ball on your car and practicing it that you take the ball over to the wall and you kind of just wait for the ball to come down and you drive alongside it and you get used to like just matching the speed of the ball, which is a very effective way of doing it. But I think of another way of doing it, which is you go in free play and you get to this middle spawn here, and then what you do is you chip the ball up and you try and get the ball to stop directly still on your car. You don't use any kind of direction, so you don't touch your left stick at all. It's just your throttle, boost and brakes. And you eventually need to get to a point where you can like get the ball to stop completely still on your car. And it also helps you figure out where the ball needs to be on your car to speed up, slow down without dropping it. So here the ball is pretty much still. And notice how all I'm doing to do it is just tapping my reverse button and tapping my throttle, because it's just a more fluid way of getting control of the ball. That's a lot better example actually. The ball's moving a lot less. Yeah, once you get comfortable doing this, because obviously there's no direction involved, it's a lot simpler and it gives you a good feel for carrying the ball. Then it's time to move on to something slightly more advanced, which is just incorporating direction into it. Obviously you can't stop the ball completely. Well, you can, but it's really not something that anyone needs to know because it is very painful to try and do that. But what you need to do is just learn how to keep the ball on top of your car like so. Just throttling your car. Make sure that you try not to use boost. Boost is very hard to use when you dribble, because eventually if you just full boost, it makes the ball speed up to the point that you can't keep it on your car. So when you dribble, especially in 1v1, it is best to just not use boost, or try not to. Now, what this does is it gives you a good feel for where the ball needs to be on your car when you turn left, for example, and when you turn right, if you want to flick it or something, like where you need to catch it, I don't know. It just gives you a good feel if you just drive around. And then once you get comfortable with this, you can start to just flick the ball. Well, maybe not like that, but you can flick the ball up, like, let's get the ball on my car properly. I can't backflip flick today, I don't know why. Probably because it's probably one of the most useless flicks. There we go. Flick the ball up, and there you go. Catch it, and rinse and repeat. Backflip flick, and then catch it. Because catching the ball efficiently is a very important skill when you ball carry. Because obviously the longer you take to catch the ball, the more time that the opponent has to get the ball off you. Now, another good skill to learn is how to catch and quickly just flick the ball. Because obviously when you dribble, your opponents especially are going to try and dispossess you. So you want to know how to get rid of the ball if they are challenging you. So it is always good to just know how to just pop the ball up and flick it. Now, if you are lucky enough to be Steam PC, then you can do workshop maps such as the dribbling challenge. I know that Lethamere has one as well. I used a different one just because I don't know, I just always used it. And it's good because if you drop the ball goes through the floor and the level resets. So you really have to focus on, first and foremost, just keeping the ball off the ground, which, you know, can be challenging because some of it is really not realistic. You'll have objects flying at you in all sorts of directions, but it's good fun. And also, if you're Backy's mod and you're comfortable with being able to chip the ball up, then you can kind of cheat it a little bit if you're comfortable and just spawn the ball on your car. That's always helpful. Obviously not in the dribbling challenge, but like in free play, this is a good way to practice. And then once you're really comfortable, you can pop the ball up, incorporate like wave dashes and stuff, and like incorporate changing your direction fast. Like you can kind of incorporate just changing your direction there, stuff like that. Like pretend that you're having to try and beat a defender, or like you just come off the wall and need to catch it. Like anything that is a possible game situation, just practice. Even if it is literally just flicking the ball. That is an absolutely hilarious flick, but yeah. And then there's one last fundamental that you really need to know for dribbling. At the lower ranks, especially in 1v1, people tend to sit in their nets. You kind of get away with just dribbling it all the way to their net and then shooting. But what people don't realize is if you dribble like this at a high level 1v1 game, you can't see your opponent because they're just going to hide behind the ball because they're blocking the goal just by being behind the ball. And by doing that, you can't see when they're about to challenge you, which gives them the upper hand, right? So how do you take the upper hand back is you make the angle for them to shadow as awkward as possible. The high level 1v1 players do it. They come into an angle. That way, when they shadow, the opponent's car is still visible to them because they're not hidden behind the ball. And that way you can see when they're about to challenge you. And it's just very helpful because I'm sure we've all had it when we're dribbling that someone's just hit the ball off the top of their head. And you've just been there like, oh, I didn't see them coming. That scared me. Well, how do you stop that happening? You just make sure that the angle they have to challenge from is one that is visible to you. Because that way, you can see them start to challenge, and once you've got good enough ball control, you can just chip the ball over them. And that works at pretty much any rank. See them coming, just get the ball over them. Like, it's a simple formula when you're dribbling. But yeah, I hope that this video is somewhat useful to you guys. Please remember to leave a like if you enjoyed the video and find it useful. Comment if you have any feedback for me, and subscribe if you are new, want to see the next version of this video, which is about how to flick the ball and how to really make the best out of your dribbles. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video.